So I've never used a thermal imager before, and I'm not an expert on these matters, and I've seen a few YouTube videos where people might be using these devices in motorhomes and caravans. So I thought it might be useful if we have a little look at this. Now, I've been sent this for free. I'm not being paid to say anything nice about it. This will be my honest opinion about it, and I just thought it was interesting. So let's have a look. I did mention this device when we were staying at Wharfdale, and I asked viewers if they could come up with some reasons why you might want to use that. So I've incorporated a few of those ideas in the video, and I hope you found this interesting. So let's have a look what's in the box. It's actually quite hard to get the sleeve off. So that's the information on the back of the device. It comes with a little presentation box. And you get a little carry case. A quick start guide, a warranty card, there's extended warranty, 180 days extended warranty if you register it within 30 days. So let's have a look what's in the case. Little carry case. You've got a USB lead, and that's a female to male USB-C to C lead, and the idea of that is you'll be able to mount it and use it handheld. We'll show you that in a minute. We've also got a couple of little adapters in here. I'll show you that first. So a USB-C to C adapter. We've also got a USB-C to Lightning adapter for the older iPhones. And this is the unit itself. Quite small, as you can see. USB-C connector on the bottom, and that's it. And of course, you've probably guessed by now, you need a phone. It works with iPhones and with Android, and really to get it to work is all you do is you plug it in into your passcode or your fingerprint or whatever you do, and it starts an app up on here. So I'll be showing you around the app. You can put it both ways, so you can take it out and you can put it in that way, so you could film yourself, which might be a bit strange. But more likely you're going to have it facing that way so you can look at the screen to see what's going on. There we are. I'm going to turn it round that way. If I hold it that way, you can see me in infrared. So the price is £124. It's probably one of the cheapest images I've seen, certainly on Amazon, that you can buy, and it's probably got one of the lower resolutions that you get for a lot of these handheld units, which are, to be fair, a lot more expensive. So the specs, it's going to be very difficult to hold this because it is so small, but the app works. You need an app for it to work, and the app works on iPhones and iPads with iOS 14 and above, and on Android phones and tablets with version 7 and above. Its resolution is 96 by 96 pixels, but it's equipped with what they call super IR image enhancement technology to upscale the image. So there's a bit of upscaling going on to get better image. It has a wide temperature range of minus 20 degrees centigrade to 400 degrees centigrade, and it can detect temperature differences as small as 0.04 degrees centigrade. It weighs just 20 grams, and you can see it's tiny. It draws 0.31 watts from the phone, so it's hardly going to drain your phone. As soon as you plug it in, your phone is permanently on, so your phone is going to be permanently powered. So do bear that in mind if you don't want to run the battery on your phone down. But like I say, it only draws a tiny amount of power, but obviously your phone screen is going to use some power as well. So just bear that in mind. Let's have a look at the quick start guide first of all. Quite a thick booklet, but there's only a couple of pages in there, and there's a very nice little getting started guide that you can go through. And it just shows you downloading the app. So that's the first thing you need to do, is download the app, connect it to your phone, and off you go. Now it does show you on here using it with a PC. Now I tried using it with PC, I couldn't get it to work with PC. I've since checked with their technical support. This unit doesn't use the analyzer software that's on a PC, so it's for use with your phone, even though it seems to suggest you can use PC software. You can't, and there's a load of how it works in here, and I will go through that. But that basically is the guide there. That's the screen, and what you can actually see is the camera I'm filming this with and my laptop in the background. And on the right hand side you've got a scale, and it gives you an idea of what sort of temperatures you're looking at. As it's nearly white, that would be 24 degrees, where it's down in the sort of the purple colours, it's round down at the bottom, it's 10 degrees. Now you might notice it keeps coming up calibrating. It does that ever so often to make sure what you're looking at is correctly calibrated. You can turn the calibration off, and I'll come on to that. But that's basically what you're looking at. As I move it closer, there we are, there's the camera, and there's my notes that I'm trying to read from. So top left, that's the Super IR. If I turn that on, it improves the image. It makes it a little bit sharper, I think. I've got picture-in-picture there, which I'm actually using there. You can turn that off, but that is using the phone's own image there. So that's the camera. Where is it? Lost where we are. Oh, it's up there. So yeah, so it's using the phone's camera there. It's quite useful for knowing what you're looking at. Sometimes it's not clear what you're looking at there. Moving across, you've got the auto calibration. You can turn the auto calibration off if you just want it off for a while, but I think it's probably just the best to leave it on. That button turns it on. You can turn the picture round 90 degrees at a time if you need to. That's it, so back where we started. At the bottom we've got either full screen, which I'm looking at here, and it's a 1x1 screen, or you can have it in a box there. Not quite sure why you'd want to do that, but I prefer that sort of look there. You've got next to that, you can turn the scale off. That's the scale that's on the right hand side of the screen. And we can switch that back on by pressing the one next to it. Then we've got the measurements, in different types of measurements. So if you go centre, it will measure what the temperature is in the centre of the screen. If you hit the hot one, it will obviously look for the hottest spots that you're looking at there, or the coldest spots, or both. I quite like this one here. You can point at a thing there, at a picture, and it will tell you the temperature there. You can draw a line between 2 points, so you can draw a line across there, and it will tell you the temperature differences along the line. That might be useful if you're looking at electrical things where you want to see if there's a temperature difference between the junction and the plug or something like that. Draw a rectangle around something. So for instance, if I draw a rectangle around there, it will tell you the temperature within that rectangle, and you can clear all of that to clear the screen. Okay, so that's that screen. You've got palettes at the bottom there, so you can have different colours depending on your preferences. I quite liked, where is it, that one there. I think that's a personal choice. You can adjust the brightness and contrast of the image. There is the sharpness or the colour distribution. I wouldn't play with that. And finally you've got the parameters. Let's have a look at those. So you've got what's called emissivity, and that's not easy to say. And the idea of emissivity is different objects have different emit different amounts of infrared radiation. So if you know what you're looking at, you can set it for various things. So if you're looking at bricks, you can set it to 0.95, I've left it set on 0.97. I'm not that desperately trying to get it that accurate. You just hit confirm for that. You've got distance, so if you know how far away the object you're looking at is, you can adjust the distance there, and that will help it focus. You've got temperature range, so if you know what sort of level you're looking at, then you set it on there. There's two levels. There's -20 to +150, or 100 degrees to 400 degrees centigrade. And you've got temperature units for those of you in the States. You can use Fahrenheit, or if you want to be super clever, you can use Kelvin. And finally, you've got a temperature alarm. Now, I suspect that's useful if you're going to be monitoring something for a while and you want to know if it goes over a particular temperature. So you could set the alarm a high temperature and a low temperature. So those are all the settings. Down the bottom you've got the preview. In the middle is the record, and that's taking a picture. If you want to do video, the one on the right is that, and you press record. Now I'm using the screen recorder in the phone to record things on here. The reason is this doesn't record any sound, so when you're just using the recorder for the unit, it doesn't record any sound. So if sound's important, obviously you need to use a screen recorder on the phone, which could be a bit of a drawback. So that's all of the settings in there, and if you hit the arrow there at the top, it gets you back to the device settings, and in there you can go back to the live view. You can check for upgrades, see if there's any upgrades. It'll give you some information about the device. Down the bottom you've got albums, and those are its own recordings. Now the problem I've had is that those recordings are buried deep in the Android operating system, and I can't see a way of bringing it out into the phone gallery. But once you find out where they are, obviously you can copy those recordings off there. But you can view what you've recorded, so if you want to have a replay of what you're recording, then you can go back and do that. And then that takes you back to the settings, and you've got the user manual there. Obviously you've got a signal, it will get you to the user manual on the website. You've got some FAQs, same sort of thing, and some terms and conditions and privacy settings, and a support setting up there as well. And if you hit device and go back to live view, it goes back to the unit. So any negatives with this device? Well, like I said earlier, there's no sound on the videos, so you do need to have another way of recording sound. I also wish there was a way of deciding where you want to store the videos. It can store the videos on the unit itself. It will put them on the unit itself, but that's got limited storage, and there is an option in the settings to save it to the phone. If you go back to there and we go to settings, into general, you've got various settings in there. So where it says local, that's the capture mode, and that stores it to the phone but buried deep in the Android operating system. The plus point is there's no battery required with it. You don't need a battery, you just need a smartphone. It weighs 20 kilograms. It's got a bigger case, obviously, so you need to carry that around. I think the reason for the bigger case is it's so small, it's easy to lose. You can't really leave it attached to your phone all the time, although it does draw only a small amount of power. Obviously it means your phone's on all the time. It has a 3-year warranty and a 10-year warranty for the sensor. And it's got auto-rotate functions. They're quite nice, that you can turn it round and it shows you the picture you're looking at, turns it round. I like the picture-in-picture option, and I've used that a lot. That's quite handy because you can actually see a live picture of what you're looking at. So how would we use it in a motorhome or a caravan? Well, there's been a few suggestions, so let's have a look at some of them. One is looking for heat escaping from your motorhome and caravan, perhaps around the windows or the doors. Yeah, so motorhome in the drive. It's pretty frosty at the moment. So just looking at what's going on here. That's ice on the headlights. Have a look at the windows. Here's the windows. And that's the... yeah, so it appears to be a bit... perhaps it's difficult to tell, isn't it? It does look like there's a bit of heat escaping there though, doesn't it? On the top here. Here's the fridge vent. Yeah, definitely some heat escaping there. Toilet set hatch. A little bit coming out there. Moving down, there's the garage. That's the seal along there. Yeah. Here's the back. That's the camera we're looking at there, isn't it? It's interesting, isn't it? Beyond that is the water point. Yeah, so you can see a little bit there. And driver's door. Move the wing mirror to get in the way. There we go. Another use is for wheel and brake temperatures, especially if you're towing. There is a danger sometimes if you're towing that you don't know what's happening to the vehicle or trailer that you're towing behind. How hot are the brakes? Are the brakes binding? Are the brakes working? And I found this actually quite interesting, so let's show you what happened. One of the good uses for this little scanner is checking your brake temperatures when you're towing. Now I've got a little up that I tow behind the motorhome, so when the motorhome brakes, the car detects that and brakes as well. So that braking is done automatically, but you don't always know how well it's working. And there is a danger, obviously, if the braking's on all the time, that the wheels will overheat. That's the wheel at the moment, that's the wheel temperature. I'll do a point on that. It's about 4.2 degrees. Look at the other side. Yeah, 4.8. So front tyres 5.5. And 5.667, something like that. Right, let's go for a little drive. So when I brake, I should hear the car braking as well. And that's a little vacuum pump going in the car, braking the car's brakes. Now, obviously, what you don't want is the brakes dragging as you're driving along. So sometimes the only way you're going to tell that, apart from sticking a camera in the back of the car, is if you check the tyre temperatures after you've been towing. So I'm going to go for a little drive. I'm just going to go up the dual carriageway and back, and then we'll see what the temperatures of the tyres and the wheels are. Check if it doesn't look too hot. So you see the tyres are a bit warmer. Yeah, tyres are definitely warmer, but there's nothing untoward with the wheels there. Let's see if we can get it down there. Actually, that drum there looks quite warm, doesn't it? It says 11, that drum. That's interesting. And that drum, yeah, that's cold. that's a bit warmer, so that drum is a bit warmer than the other one. Why that should be, I don't know. Maybe I've got a like, trailing brake shoe or something. But that is interesting, isn't it? Another use, and I'm not sure how useful this one is, but you could take photos, infrared photos in the dark. You could see your little dog wandering about in the garden. One good use for it might be for looking at hotspots in junctions and in wiring. If anything's overheating, if you've got a plug that's producing heat, sometimes you don't see that until you start to smell it burning. So it might be useful if you've done a bit of wiring to actually use this infrared device to have a look to see if there's any hot spots that shouldn't be there. Okay, let's have a look in this wardrobe cupboard in here. It's got a light on in it, so it might confuse it a little bit, but is over there, I've got a hand in the camera there, over there is the heater pipe, and by it, just running alongside it, is wiring. So nothing really in there. There's a bit of heat coming through the top there from the bed above. Just looking down there's nothing untoward, but you could check if any of those wires getting a bit hot. I wonder if I could check in the battery compartment. Into the garage now. So I've taken the battery back box cover off. There's the battery. How much of that we can see. Really difficult to hold the camera and see what I'm looking at. Let's turn it that way up. It's also quite useful for checking out where all the drafts are coming from. Motorhomes in particular have lots of places where drafts can come from. Cold spots in the cab and drafts around windows and skylights. I tried looking at battery connections. You might want to check your battery connections are not getting too hot. It's a little bit difficult for me to get into the battery connections. I had a look at the one at the back, the leisure battery, which is behind a panel. The vehicle battery is under the front passenger seat, so a little bit more difficult to see that. Another possible use is you might want to look if any of your fuses are getting hot. There is a particular fuse that gets very hot because it runs the refrigerator when you're on 12 volts on motorhomes, and if it's not the right rating, that fuse can get quite hot. So it's a good thing to have a look to see if you've got any fuses that are overheating. I started the engine, so let's just have a look at that fuse. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fuse 5 looks a little bit warm. And that's the appliance, cooker, toilet, USBs. Okay. The others look alright. So conclusions, I think it's a really useful little tool, and it's a useful introduction if you're interested in thermal imaging. It's ideal for a DIY or motorhome caravan user as a quick check on things like wheels and wiring. So I've really enjoyed using this sort of device, and it's quite interesting. I hope you found it useful, and if you have, give us a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. So thanks for watching. We'll see you soon. Bye then.